Hey guys, welcome to Joy Koi Fish. My name is Joy Koi. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do this lovely rib stitch. This is a beginner friendly pattern. Anyone who knows how to do that knit stitch, purl stitch, and the friendly old cast on, you can definitely get started with the rib stitch right after. If you don't know how to do any of those steps, please be sure to jump onto my channel, Joy Koi Fish, going to the knitting and crocheting playlist, and check out my step-by-step slow tutorials for you to be sure that you know how to do these steps thoroughly. You can often find this stitch on the brim of a beanie or maybe even the total of your favorite knitted hat that you wear in the winter, or sometimes you can find it on sweaters. This is one of my favorite winter sweaters to wear, and it is lovely because the rib stitch adds this nice stretchy fabric and effect to your favorite knitted piece so that it is nice and thick and cozy, but also stretches with you. In order to be able to successfully create this stitch, you need to know how to do the knit stitch, the purl stitch, and you also need to know how to cast on properly. These are the 3 steps that you need to know how to do to create the rib stitch, which are very important because otherwise you won't be able to do it correctly. If you don't know how to do any of these stitches or parts of this rib stitch pattern, please be sure to jump over to my channel, Joy Koi Fish, and click on the playlist knitting and crocheting and check out my tutorials so that you can figure out how to do these things in a slow step-by-step process. One very important thing to let you guys know is that this stitch is a 1-row repeat. A 1-row repeat pretty much means that this entire stitch is being repeated continuously until you have completed the project entirely. Before we get started, I would like to let you guys know what I'm going to be using today for materials. First, I'm going to be using US size 10 or 6 millimeter circular needles to knit today, and then I'm also going to be using this bulky pink yarn that I got from a local yarn shop, but I'll put something in the description for both of these that are very similar so that you can get them and get your hands on those right away. Alright, most importantly, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to get started on this rib stitch. So lovely. Love knitting this up. One thing that you need to remember when you're doing the rib stitch is that you need to always cast on, no exceptions, an even number of stitches. If you don't cast on an even number of stitches, you will get the seed or moss stitch, which we will learn in another video, but it isn't exactly what we're going for, so just make sure that you cast on an even number of stitches. Here I am casting on 10 stitches, so if you'd like to go along with me exactly how I'm doing it, please be sure to cast on 10 stitches, and then we'll get started with the actual stitch. Alright, to start, we are going to do 1 knit stitch. So knit 1. Alright, now we're going to bring our yarn from the back to the front, and we are going to purl 1. We will continue repeating this. So the next stitch, we're going to bring our yarn from the front to the back. We're going to do a knit stitch. So knit 1. Back to front, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, and you're going to repeat that for the entire row. Since I said before that this is a 1-row repeat, every single row, unless you're going to change up your pattern or your stitch in the middle of your pattern, which is not what we are testing here, make sure that you knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl every stitch, and make sure that your last stitch is always a purl. If you end on a knit stitch, you either knitted twice, purled twice, something went wrong, or you have casted on an odd number of stitches, and then you will get a stitch that kind of looks like it has a ton of purl bumps in it, and it doesn't look like this very pretty. I'm not saying it's not pretty, but it doesn't look so formed, like it doesn't have that formation that the rib stitch does. It's a little more fun, you know. Anyways, that is a key part to being able to successfully knit the rib stitch. So just make sure, as I said before, to knit one, purl one, and repeat until the end of the row, and then do the same thing for the next row. So that's what I'm doing here. Eventually, the more that you start knitting up rows, you'll start to see the stitch come and you'll start to see it, and it's a really beautiful stitch. I love knitting with this one. It's just so easy. You can just relax, watch Netflix, binge your favorite show. You know, you don't have to be completely focusing. Just as long as you are really comfortable with knitting and purling, you'll be able to get this down pat and be able to concentrate on something else at the same time. So here's an example. So you can keep knitting and purling all the way up until you've got your desired length. So that is the rib stitch. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please be sure to give it a like so that I can make more content like this. And if you really liked it and would love to see more, please be sure to subscribe because all the help matters. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.